Hey game hunters, this is Charles Starkey, Pro Staff, Texas Game Hunters. This morning we went coyote hunting, had a little success. Got a little female coyote, I mean a little one. And I just wanted to I figured this would be a good opportunity to show how I do the skinning on a coyote in the wintertime. Of course, we're not in winter and it's pretty hot. I think this would be a pretty good example. It'd be the same thing if we did it on a big coyote or a little coyote or whatever. Some of the things that I use is I like the kind of knives that have the replacement blades. For instance, this is a Gerber Vital. Relatively cheap. Blades are cheap to get for them, and they're just real handy because you always got a good sharp knife. That's the main key. You got a tail stripper to pull the bone out of the tail, and then a tail zipper for your fur buyer. They always like the tail to be cut open. So got it on the lift, got it ready to go. And the way I always start off is find that leader, and you make sure you don't want to cut that or else it won't stay on the gambrel for you. And then you just first thing you do is just make a cut around the leg. You want to be real careful not to cut that leader or that Achilles tendon, because when it comes time to pull the hide, it could make it very difficult. Can you get that cut? Okay, and then we'll do the same thing on the other leg. And once I get the cuts made, I go ahead and do the front legs, which you just cut around. I go right above the knuckle. That's about all you'll need for your fur buyer. And you just kind of pull the hide away a little bit from each leg, just like that. And then what you want to do for your next cuts is, in the wintertime when they really got their good colors, you'll see a definite color change between the inside and the outside of the legs. And what you want to do is you want to take your knife and go right down that color line to the vent on each leg. So we'll go ahead and make that cut. You want to stay right on that color change line, so that way you get a. Then you just take the tail from the vent, just make an incision down the tail, kind of stay on the bone. Then you can cut down right alongside the tail a little bit. Be careful not to cut all the way through your hide. You don't want to mess the tail up. If you lose the tail, there's might as well no sense in going to the fur buyer, because they like to have the tail attached. And then after you get those main cuts done, now is just peeling the hide off the legs. You just come in here, separate the hide from the meat. Be careful not to nick anything, cut holes in it. Have some sewing to do after you're done. You're just separating the hide from the meat. And you'll come, once you get this side down to the hip bone, you can come over and start on the other side. Try not to nick the fur too much. It really doesn't matter in the summertime, just for the video. And then when you get to the middle, you can just cut that right there, and it'll look like that. And then you just continue to work your fur down. I like to have a pretty good work area right in here, So that way you don't take a chance of just pulling the tail off. Now what I'm doing is I'm just kind of working the fur away from the tailbone, and then after I get it down a little bit, that'll be time for your tail stripper. And all you do is take your tail stripper and you clip it around the tailbone. And then the reason why I like a big area is because you're not pulling on the tail, you're going to pull on the tailbone. And if everything goes right, I'm pulling the tail off. Let me skin it back a little more. On a bigger coyote, really wouldn't be that much of a problem. The tails are pretty tough. And that's it right there, and you just strip your tail out of the tailbone out of the tail. And then for your fur buyers, they like to. This is a tail zipper, and you just come into where you cut, and you just zip that tail all the way down to the end, and that's that cut. Now the rest of it is just pulling the fur off the coyote. Almost, this one's like almost skinning a rabbit, not too hard. And he's getting down there where I have to bend over, so. Got him up here where I can get another good pull on him. Then when you're cutting around the body, you want to make sure and stay above your fur line where the fur is curling under. And you just want to make slow, easy cuts around. Now you just continue working the hide on down to his head. Be careful not to cut the jugular vein or it's going to get real messy real quick. Okay, and once you get down on the skull, you can kind of see where the ears are, where the ear holes are, and they're just little bumps that stick out. You'll tell when you're there. And what you want to do is you just want to come, you want to come behind the ear and just make a straight cut down to the skull. And you want to just go ahead and just cut that ear off. Like that. And then you'll do the same way and make sure your fur is down below. And then you'll just come in and make that straight cut to the skull. And then once you got your ears done, the next thing will be the eyes when you get to it. So you can just kind of pull. Then you can use the ear holes to kind of help pull it down. And then you'll know when you're in the eyes because it's a real soft area right there. And what you want to do is you just want to cut into the, again, keep your knife straight against the skull and cut into your eye, because for the fur buyers, they like to see that, they like to see the whole eye and the tear duct. So you want to make sure and stay close. Cut the complete eye. There's one. All right, now when you get down into the teeth, down into the mouth, you want to stay real close to the gum line, because they like to see the gum line, which your fur buyer will trim all that off after during the drying process. But to make sure you get your money's worth, you want to stay as close to the gum line as you can. And then once you get to the canines, on the bottom jaw, You just angle your knife back toward the body, and you just cut that. They don't need that bottom lip, because once the hide is tanned and dried, they're going to cut that off. And then you want to make sure and get the nose. So you want to come in, and once you get down to the nose, you want to cut it off right up next to the skull. And that's a skint coyote. And then you can turn this fur I guess I'm in frame. And there's your bag skinned coyote. And if you do your own fleshing, of course you'd turn it back wrong. You'd turn it back hide side out in, or fur side in, and that way you could do your fleshing and then get it ready for your drying board. But I haven't got that far yet, so basically what I do at this point is I just wash and brush my hides. If it was winter time, I brush my pelts and get all the stickers out of them and everything. And you definitely want to do that before you flesh, or you'll wind up cutting a hole in your hide. It's a pretty little pelt. And that's it. Thanks for watching. Charles Starkey, Texas Game Hunters. I'd like to give a special thanks to our sponsors and everybody that makes our show possible. And we'll see you on the next hunt. Predator Police is out on patrol.